Hello, this is Sabina at Cross Keys Crafts. Today with another fun fold, and it's another easy one. I was inspired to make this by a video by Patty Dolan again. I really like watching her tutorials. But the card she made, she actually made it, as I think, a little bit complicated. Well, it's basically a different fold because it involves some cuts on the inside. And I looked at the card and I thought, I can recreate the look of this card without having any cuts in the middle. It's very straightforward and I really like the effect. And normally I don't make cards ahead, but I had to go at it because it's so simple. So this is what the card looks like. I've got a sentiment to put here at the top, but I just wanted to show you before I stick it down, because this is really thin ephemera. I made sure I put generous foam pads behind this, or foam strips they are, so that will go on the top here. But all it is this card here with ephemera here at the front, and then you open it up like this. And as I said, Patty Dolan's card, she had cuts in here. I don't think she actually stuck it down here on the back. I think her bit was shorter and then was stuck to the bit that folded out here. But I think this is fine. You don't need to open it all the way up because then it will bend funnily. But you would set it up like this anyway. And I think this is really cool. And the other thing I did a shortcut on was using some patterned cardstock as my card base, because then that means I don't have to stick down any mats or layers, and I've just used a white panel here to write the greeting into. You could do it on the back if you just wanted to expose the pattern paper, but if you want to write on it, maybe just write in the middle here so that this is hidden when you open it up. But as I said, I will put this on the top anyway because I like this eat, drink and be merry, and then having the wine glass and the Christmas pudding here. So this is what we're going to make today. I'm going to use this paper pad. I showed you that in another video where I used the gingerbread version. Somebody commented on my video saying they had seen this paper pad at the range quite a while ago, so maybe you have it anyway, because it is English writing, although I bought it in Germany. So yeah, I really like the look of that. The only thing you need to be mindful of is that the paper pad you need, you can't use the one that has got directional pattern like this. You need to have a directional pattern that goes sideways. So some of these I couldn't use. I could have used this one here, but the one I went for the second card are these green and white stripes. I just like the plain and classic look of that. And for the middle bit, I've chosen this red mirror card that's also from the paper pad. So let me give you the measurements. Oh, and I also had a revelation about my scoreboard. I'll tell you that in a moment. So you need a piece that is 6 inches by 10 inches. And let me get my scoreboard out. So, and we're going to score this at, just looking at my notes here on the side, at 4 inches, 5.5, 7, and 8.5. This leaves us with a 4-inch panel here, and then these 4 panels are 1.5 inches wide. So I was creating a gatefold, not a gatefold, I just wanted to create a card base yesterday, and I had a 10-inch piece, and I actually can show you that on a scrap maybe. Bear with me. So I found a scrap. I'm turning it the right way around so you can see where I'm scoring. Just in case you've got the same problem, I've been moaning about my other scoreboard saying I can't get gatefold cards even, or if I cut card bases, cut the cardstock to 10 inches, score it at 5 and fold it. It's not the same on both sides. So, and I had the same problem here. So this is a 10-inch piece. I've cut it on my guillotine, and I hope you can see this. This is, well, it just goes just past that score line here, but it is 10 inches on my guillotine. I'm scoring it at 5, and I do appreciate that the cardstock moves a little bit because obviously you've got the groove. But if I turn it this way around now, it's not at 5, it's sitting here. So, and I think sometimes that is the problem, that maybe the grooves are not in the right place. So I think that's a general problem. So in future, if I want a 5x7 card base or even 4x6, I always cut the piece longer, score at like 1 and whatever this is, between 5 and 5 1/4. I need to write down the measurements here. Anyway, so I would score there, so a little bit out, and then cut it down on my guillotine afterwards. I think that helps. So that's just for your knowledge. So let's come back to the card. So, and this piece here, I've already cut it and so scored it. This piece is 7 inches wide. It is, let me just check, I've already forgotten, 2.5 inches, but you could have it bigger or smaller. I just went for that. I like the look of that. And I've scored that at 3.5 in the middle. With mirror card, just be a bit mindful that you don't put too much pressure on it because it will show blemishes on the front. But I like the look of it with that pattern cardstock. So we now need to fold on the score lines. This is the 4-inch panel. I've turned it this way around now. So we need to create a valley fold. And the important thing is that you burnish these properly because you don't want too much bulk to the card. And then the next one is a mountain fold. When you fold it back, make sure as well it sort of lines up with the card behind it. And then we've got another valley fold. Again, make sure this aligns here. And then another valley fold. So I'm just checking, see, if you look on the back now, this overhangs as well, and it's a bit uneven. It can be partially from the folding. I'm not bothered about this now because that one's showing, it doesn't show from the front. But if I needed this to be straight, I would have to go back in and cut it straight. I might do that after all. Let me just check. Yeah, I will just get into my guillotine, see if I can get this lined up, and just cut this a little bit straighter. Yeah, so I just cut off a little bit. It is probably uneven because of the folds, so I just cut off a little bit so it doesn't overhang too much. So, and then we can place this piece down. So all we need for that is what I did before. I placed it on the card in the middle, making sure I've got even space on either side. And it's up to you really. You could have it at the bottom and have more space at the top. I'll have to have a little thing where I've got my embellishments. I might just do that for this card. It would mean maybe writing the sentiment further at the bottom, but I could have a Merry Christmas at the top and then just write the names at the bottom. So what I did was I used my pencil and I marked on the back of the mirror card where this panel ends. So I put a little mark just like that, just with a flick. And then I know where I need to apply the glue. So I used my magic glue before, but I think for this one, I will actually, no. Tell you what, I keep forgetting. With mirror card, any wet glue will show, so I will have to use some tape. So I will use the red tape here for this panel because it's a mechanism that is a bit of pressure on this, so I don't want this to be pulled off. I think that'll do. I'm not going right to the edge, but that should be fine. Getting my tweezers. But using red tape also means once I've pressed it down that's it. I don't have any wriggle room with that. So I need to be mindful now to align it here. So I'm just placing it down here and eyeballing it, hoping it's straight. And I've also just realized this bit actually that I've got on the front now, I meant to have that on the back, because I've got a bit of a blemish here in them. That is from the production of the card, I think, but it doesn't matter. It might be covered by my house anyway. So once I've placed that down, I can stick it down on the back. So I folded this down flat and then I press this one down so that when the card folds it sits flat. That's important. So, and then all I need to do now is to embellish the front. I've picked some of the ephemera here as well that came with that card pad. So I thought maybe the house and the snowman. I did have to tidy all these little tabs up. Some of them show a little bit still, but I think it's okay. When you put down the glue, make sure you don't put any glue behind the bits that are exposed, that come off that panel. I made a little mistake earlier having too much in the glue in the corner there, but yeah, maybe even that one there. I've got Frosty the Snowman, but I might not use that anyway. No, I won't use that one. And I think I will find something to put on his scarf there. But when you glue these onto mirror card, make sure you've got a glue that is suitable for mirror card. I will probably use some tape because that will leave no mess. I will also put the panel on the inside here for the writing. This one is 3.5 by 5.5. It's up to you really. I like a bit of a frame exposed there, and I think I will find a sentiment to put there. So I quickly do this off camera and then I'll show you the finished card. So I'm glad I did this off camera. It was a pain in the bum. I was trying to use up some old double-sided adhesive tape and the release paper didn't want to come off. So this is going into the bin right now. It's not worth it. If you know any good double-sided adhesive tape where the release paper comes off really easily, let me know in the comments. That would be great. For this one here, I used some liquid glue, but I've just noticed because these are really thin die cuts, it does show a little bit. Hopefully it will be better when it's dried. Also, because we're working on 2 different levels here, if that bothers you, you might want to back these up. I'm okay with it because it's supposed to be a quick card. So for the sentiment, I have found this one here because that will just fit in there. Well, I can cut the exclamation mark off and then that will actually show there. This is also from this paper pad that's got 2 sheets of vellum in there, and I have cut generously in this ho 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 because I don't do ho 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 on my cards, so I didn't mind that too much. But I want to show you how you can adhere these. I have got here some double-sided adhesive sheets. This is from Crafters Companion, if I can find it, and we'll remember to link it below. So I'm just peeling this off here on one side. This is the release paper. I'm just sticking this down and then fold it back down, and I can see where I've stuck it down. So now, it doesn't matter which side, I can cut this out without getting my glue on my good scissors. So that can go back in the pack. So I've only got a little bit of an edge here. So, and now I can cut around this. I'm just thinking whether I want to fussy cut that. I have to fussy cut it because of that. I think I don't get away with cutting that unless I cut it straight. No, I will just very randomly, maybe a bit roundish to make it look intentional. Theoretically, it won't show too much because it is vellum, and it shouldn't leave too much of a visible line there. It's a little bit sticky from the edge that was exposed. So yeah, I'm happy with that. So all I need to do now, no, hang on, I'm not happy with that. Cut the bottom line a little bit thinner. Come in again here. That's why it's best to do it in one go, because it's difficult sometimes to go back in. And note, I never knew that. Note how I move this and don't really move the scissors. That's the best way to do it. So all I need to do now is to take that release paper off. Again, that can be tricky. There we go. So now I can place this down here. So I'm having a look where I want it. I want to get away a little bit from the edge. I'm not sticking it down here. Well, it's not the intention. Opening up, and then I can press it down there. So it does show a little bit because it's more like a cream colour more than white, but almost the camera doesn't pick it up. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So I've got the Merry Christmas for you, and then I can write a personal greeting just behind the panel here. I will come in with some stickers afterwards, I think, but I will just add a little photo once that has dried, because I love stickers. And yeah, really easy to make these cards. The longest it took me was actually to prepare the embellishments. If you've got anything ready, any ephemera, they are really, really easy to make. The mechanism took a few minutes. Yeah, and I'm really pleased with what these look like. Yeah, and if you like these cards too, you might want to give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of what I'm creating, you might want to subscribe to my channel. I'd be very happy about that. And I'll see you soon with another video. So I'm just popping in again, as I always do. I always say I put a little video snippet here, but I thought I'd just show you this because some of you might not know what stickles are. Stickles are these little bottles of basically a glitter glue, and they're fabulous. I never had any issues with these. One thing you need to do though is put it upside down, squeeze it out on a little bit of scrap paper, make sure it's running smoothly, and then you can dot the glue as I have done here. Really, it's not as fine when you put it down, but because the glue dries away, it leaves behind that glitter. But I can even draw lines with that. It's what I did here. And I used the red and the teal. That's a new one to me. Is it called teal? No, I can't read what it says. No chance. It's black on green background, but never mind. I recently bought that. It's essentially a green colour, a teal colour. Yeah, and I just followed the dots that were on here, but I also went a little bit over here because the die cut had torn a little bit on the background. So yeah, another good way of hiding that. And on this one here, I used the clear one on the house where naturally there would be snow. After a snowfall, this obviously looks pink now because the background was red, and then I did 3 different colours on the snowman's buttons and the red here, and I think the look of that is really nice. It just finishes off. It doesn't give too much dimension. I was tempted with the Let It Snow to add some pearl drops, but I think this is fine, and they don't take too long to dry either.